Aterian is an exploration and development company with a diversified African portfolio of critical metals projects. Now, after issuing convertible loan notes and a significant share purchase from a director, it can now accelerate the Agdiz exploration drill program in Morocco, where it also has a portfolio of multiple copper, silver, and base metal projects. I'm delighted to be joined by the chairman, Charles Bray. So, Charles, a lot going on, including a joint venture with Rio Tinto to earn into a project in southern Rwanda. So, what is the priority at the moment?
That's a very good question. I think our priority is bringing the assets that we have and taking them to the next step. So in Rwanda, with the one you mentioned, we were in a joint venture with Rio Tinto. There, it's about drilling. So we're expecting to start drilling now that we've gathered a bunch of soil samples, and Rio Tinto rather has done all of the work there, but they've been sharing the data with us. So we're very excited about advancing that. And so we're expecting drill results and drill data back sometime over Q3. And then in Morocco, where we have these 17 different projects, what's really exciting there is with this recent fundraising, we're now able to advance and start to do our own drilling there. Those are all 100% owned. So it's very exciting because the value proposition changes. And we have a tremendous amount of scale in terms of the potential with copper and with silver.
Okay, that's an awful lot of assets and prospects within
Yes.
Morocco, but the Agdiz project, it's the new copper, silver, gold, and polymetallic frontier. Is that what you're hoping to find there, or have you already made a discovery?
I think we've already made what I would describe as significant ground sampling discoveries. So in other words, we have been able to prospect the region and determine that it has very, very high copper potential. What we haven't been able to do is to understand the geological model at depth. We're finding silver, we're finding gold, we're finding copper. And we want to really understand through drilling, what does that mean across the entire license area? So does the project offer the opportunity to partner with one of the majors? Is it something we want to work on with a more of a, what I describe as a mid-tier player? Or is it something that a local, let's say, exploration partner wants to go in with us to help us to explore further? So in particular in Morocco, what we're confident is that the area itself has a tremendous amount of potential, right from the very, I'd call upstream, which is where we are in terms of exploration work, all the way down downstream through to gigafactories and manufacturing. So we're very excited about Morocco and advancing our project there.
Okay, I just want to go back to Rio Tinto because you said Rio Tinto shares its data. Does it also share the cost? Is that part of the relationship?
No, actually, Rio Tinto takes up 100% of the costs. So that's what's very exciting about that project. Rio Tinto is paying for everything, and they're paying for it in a way that we're learning from. In other words, they're hiring experts, they're hiring subcontractors, they're engaging in health and safety protocols that we're learning from. They're engaging with the local community with our assistance. And so all of that is helping us to become better stakeholders as well. And so we not only get the data from all the research and work that's being done, but we're able to engage with those other stakeholders, whether they're local community members, local government stakeholders, or suppliers. And that's helping us to advance other projects in Rwanda. And when we're learning a tremendous amount.
So I'm just wondering whether this is the business model that you're chasing, getting your partner to pay for everything.
That's exactly what we're chasing. We're getting our partners to ideally not just provide funding, which we can use at the corporate level, but also funding we can use to advance our other projects while we focus on with a partner on one particular project. And what's exciting about that is if we don't happen to reach the threshold that Rio Tinto's determined to be satisfactory for them, we retain all of the data, we retain all of that information, and we can still continue to advance that project once it reverts back to our, let's say, almost full ownership.
Now, the three T's:
Yes.
tantalum, ting, tin, and tungsten. I have to get my teeth in there. What kind of exposure do you have to these elements and why are they important?
Yes. What's really important about tantalum is, generally speaking, globally, what you find is where you find tantalum, you find lithium. So these are typically LCT pegmatites, so lithium, cesium, and tantalum. So what it means for us is it's very exciting because where we were exploring originally in Rwanda for tantalum, what we've determined is that we believe we've discovered a tremendous amount of lithium. And so that's the next stage with Rio Tinto, establishing at depth, is there lithium? What type of lithium? How much lithium? And is there enough for Rio Tinto, or will this all just revert back to us at the end? What's for sure is we know on that particular site in the southern part of Rwanda, it's a pretty substantial tantalum find in that pegmatite. So it's more about now just getting the resource estimates out and letting the market know what we actually have.
Charles, there's so much. You've got a smorgasbord of assets there. Have you got to the scale where it's becoming unmanageable?
That's a great question. We don't believe so. We're engaging with, again, more local partners in Morocco in particular. We've just had a series of meetings with the regional government heads that deal with mining and mining regulations, just to reassure them that we're undertaking the work that's necessary. We've engaged with local partners to help us do exploration work. So our relatively small office, which is, a number of geologists and an office head, has just increased in size dramatically. And we believe it's well worth the cost because the cost is relatively low when you look at the potential value. And so it's about, as a former city guy, it's about building a portfolio, and it's about having what I'd call low delta options, and that a lot of those, so that when you do find that discovery, it more than compensates for the risk that you took on and the cost you took on, and those costs are relatively small. So we feel that the risk reward scenario for our shareholders, for ourselves, is excellent. And so we're looking forward to advancing these assets.
So once a city guy, always a city guy. So I'm
I,
quite sure that due diligence is part of your DNA.
Absolutely. And that's why you see that our assets are in these, what we consider to be excellent jurisdictions. So Rwanda, where you have a great business environment, you have excellent mining laws. They're relatively immature when you compare it to Morocco or Botswana, but they are advancing, and it's an excellent place to do business. That's the same with the Kingdom of Morocco. It's just a very, very good place to do business, and we're finding it to be excellent in terms of communication. You have things like the rule of law, you have recourse, you have arbitration systems. And so, not that any of those have been necessary, but it's important to know that in a jurisdiction like that, you do have that if you need recourse. And the same in Botswana, where we now have 10 licenses, 7 over the Kalahari Copper Belt. It's really about just slowly advancing these, keeping the cost down to a minimum amount while we go and partner or find those partners on the most prospective, let's say, in Rwanda and Morocco in the short term.
So whilst you seek those partners who hopefully will take up 100% of the costs, whilst you seek that, sounds like Nirvana, whilst you seek that, you are still responsible for the majority of the funding. So talk to me about um, the maths of the convertible loan notes. You raised funds. Explain the maths to me. I mean, how much capital did you raise? It just seemed a convoluted vehicle.
Yes, there are two reasons for that. And one is we need the necessary authority to have the capital from the ordinary share issue, and we didn't have that just yet. So what we've done is we have a structure whereby some of the shareholders have basically sold their shares, and in exchange, they've acquired convertible loan notes, not necessarily as part of the structure, but let's say in series with that sale. And so by doing it this way, we can then go to shareholders, get the authority we need, have that authority granted, issue the shares back to those shareholders who sold, and move forward from there. What we're most proud about and pleased about is we got a sufficient amount of capital to get what we need done over the next 6 to 9 months. And more importantly, we were able to minimize the dilution to shareholders as we did it at a slight premium, which in this market we think is exceptional.
Okay, let's talk about the market. Do you think that confidence is returning to the junior markets, or does the behavior of the junior market have little impact on Aterian?
No, the behavior of the junior markets do have an impact on us. And I do believe that there's signs. I call them the early green shoots. It tends to be, you can see it, for example, with the Anglo American BHP type of transaction, where I believe the industry is recognizing that there's value to be had, that the market doesn't necessarily reflect that value at times. And so large transactions are going through. And what I believe will happen is you'll start to see that filter through down into the junior market. Some of the partners, as I mentioned, we're having discussions with are what I describe more traditional type investors as opposed to mining companies. And I think that's a clear sign that they see value at the asset level, that's exceptional. And so, yeah.
So, in terms of assets and transactions, I want to talk to you about your acquisition strategy, because in April, the acquisition of the Botswana-based Atlantis Metals, that was completed in April. So, how is the integration going, and what does it bring to the portfolio immediately?
Yes, that has brought about 7 different licenses in the Kalahari Copper Belt. That integration was the smoothest of the 3. So we're learning as we go along. First, it was Rwanda, then Morocco, now Botswana, and by far the smoothest of the 3. What's it allow for us is it allows for us to enter in discussions with counterparties, potential partners who are interested in the Kalahari Copper Belt. It allows us to talk about references. So, for example, what we see is generally in the Kalahari Copper Belt, assets or licenses are trading around $1,000 per square kilometer. So, for us to pick up 2,000 square kilometers of assets for an ongoing, let's say it's going to cost us probably about $50,000 per year, is we feel just exceptional value. Really very, very strong return on investment. And it's about maintaining those assets and advancing them. That will take a bit more capital, but we believe it's well worth the price.
Botswana, Rwanda, the Kingdom of Morocco. Which other jurisdictions are you looking at for future acquisitions?
Ooh. Uh, Let me put it this way. We're looking at only the very best jurisdictions.
Good. And on that journey, I'm just wondering if you are leveraging the expertise of your board, because I noticed that one of your directors has an association with futuristic mining business, Cobalt Metals. Are you cracking the whip and making them work hard?
Absolutely. We have an excellent board, and what I'm so pleased about is they're geologically diverse. I believe that they had their experiences diverse. We would ideally like to have a woman join the board. We'd love that kind of diversity as well, that different sort of, let's say, insight and perspective that we all appreciate so much. But the fact of the matter is, it's an excellent board as it is, and we really are working hard to leverage all of their experience in their network.
Lovely. Charles Bray, Chairman of Aterian, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank you.